Good evening, everyone. Today, I am going to present my action research presentation, which is improving student participation by using interactive game-based activities during ESL classes among Form 2 students. My name is Arina Ajak Anak Fabian, and without further ado, let us begin. So now we're moving on to chapter 1, which is Introduction and Context. For the setting, it is a secondary school in Malaysia. And as for the students, it consists of 34 Form 2 students. The subject that I'm teaching is English. And when it comes to their proficiency level, it is mixed, which consists of low and middle proficiency. So the main issue is low student participation. And as for the problem statements, traditional methods such as worksheet-based lessons can affect student participation. Students were passive and quiet, making them feel unmotivated and have little interest. Now we're moving on to chapter 2, which is literature review. So according to Muller, Kuhn et al. 2021, student participation involves democratic education, children's rights, well-being, learning, as well as school practice. Students participate in class when they are involved in decision-making and expressing their opinions in an environment where they feel safer, respected, and included. Student participation involves consideration, cooperation, and the willingness to adapt and change. Whereas Huang et al. 2022, students can attain high levels of participation once interaction is involved among teachers and peers, especially during class activities. Discussions, communications, and meaningful learning tasks can ensure students remain focused and motivated throughout the whole class period, according to their findings. But if the learning environment remains passive, students will cease to interact and contribute to the class, thus reducing the class participation among students. Another literature review is from Chonta 2022. Meaningful interactions may appear, which can lead to learning if some conditions are met that can activate a student's learning desire. Collaboration will occur if there's regular communication, having a shared space, and an appropriate group size. Another literature review from the same author, Stahl et al. 2006, as cited in Chonta 2022, collaboration in both online and face-to-face learning can occur while using scaffolding with the help of technology. Zheng et al. 2021 stated that teachers view collaborative learning positively due its educational benefits, as it helps them becoming a supportive facilitator instead of a dominating traditional teacher. Furthermore, students were encouraged to take responsibility for their own learning through active participation and collaboration with other students. Now, another literature review, Ochoa Sueva et al. 2023, explains that game-based activities enable students to become independent and active, improving the class environment and foster critical thinking skills and language acquisition as it motivates them and excites them. Another literature review from the same author, Van der Kruise et al. 2012, as cited in Ochoa-Sueva et al. 2023, the use of technology can open more possibilities in and ways in making it more engaging. These are the examples that technology can be implemented in game-based activities. Now, last but not least, McCloy 2025, Vygotsky's theory of cognitive development stated that the role of social interaction and culture in learning is crucial for a student's development in an ESL classroom, as he emphasizes that students must be guided with someone who is more knowledgeable, such as teachers and other peers. So the research gap is Most of these studies are focused on digital platforms such as the usage of websites and or mobile applications. There were also studies that measure results or academic achievement by using tests or surveys instead of classroom observations, students' feedback, and teacher reflections. Now we're moving on to chapter 3, which is methodology. So the participant consisted of 34 Form 2 students, 13 male and 21 female, and the action plan uses game-based activities such as poison ball, wheel picker, group presentations, or group discussions. So the data collection methods are classroom observation, informal student feedback, and teacher daily log and lesson plan reflections. So the justification behind these data collection methods are these methods were chosen because it allows authentic classroom behavior and their perceptions being captured and recorded without relying on numerical data. So there are a few ethical considerations when doing this action research, which is students' identities were anonymous. After that, feedback was given voluntarily. Next, activities were done in a fair and inclusive manner. And last but not least, permission to teach was given. Now we're moving on to the next chapter, which is chapter 4, findings and analysis. So first is classroom observation findings. Students were quiet and passive in class. After activity implementation, students were attentive and active. Next, informal student feedback. They described the activities as fun, interesting, and creative. And last but not least, teacher daily log and lesson plan reflections. The classroom has shown a more positive environment. Few challenges needed to be addressed, such as noise level and time management. Now the discussions. Based on the results, interactive game-based activities can influence student participation during ESL lessons. Students were willing to participate in discussions, answering questions, and collaborate with classmates after this intervention was first introduced. The classroom environment becomes more active and student-centered compared to the traditional worksheet-based classrooms. Now we're moving on to our last chapter, which is chapter 5, conclusion and reflection. So the summary is this study examines how interactive game-based activities influence student participation during ESL lessons. It is possible that student participation in ESL lessons can be improved significantly because of these interactive game-based activities such as matching games, game-based choosing activities, discussions, as well as presentations. Information that was gathered through classroom observations, informal student feedback, and teacher reflections pointed to this result. These activities help students increase their interest, willingness to engage with the class, and participation compared to traditional lessons such as teacher-centered classrooms. So, impact and reflection. So, this research highlighted the importance of student-centered learning, student-centered teaching. So, student participation can be improved if students were given the chance to voice out their opinions, such as openly communicate with teachers and other students and actively contribute in completing their learning tasks on time. Throughout this research, it is also strengthens the awareness and belief of having a sufficient classroom management, lesson plan design, and the importance of having to adapt and strategize to students' needs and wants in order to maintain a conducive and inclusive learning environment. One of the recommendations that I can include in this action research is teachers should include more interactive and game-based activities into ESL lessons, such as random matching games, which is poison ball and wheel picker, group discussions, and group presentation. Teachers should also be creative when it comes to creating game-based activities. And last but not least, future researchers should consider using additional data collection methods such as questionnaires or surveys to obtain more detailed information about students' experiences and their perceptions. And that's all from me. Thank you.